The year my life split cleanly into before and after wasn't marked by a scream, a fight, or some dramatic family explosion. It was marked by a sticky note. I was 13 years old, standing barefoot in the kitchen, staring at a square of yellow paper slapped crookedly onto the refrigerator door. Stay at a friend's. Back in a week. Love you. No signature. No explanation. Just my mother's graceful handwriting, looped, careful, distant. I reread it 3 times, convinced I'd missed something. A date. A joke. And I'll call you later. There was nothing else. They left that morning. On my birthday. I knew because my phone buzzed with notifications before I even heard the car pull away. My older sister, Jasmine Mountain, had posted a photo of herself in oversized sunglasses, pink suitcase at her feet, captioned, "Family time." My younger sister, Lily Mountain, followed minutes later with palm tree emojis and a video of the airport lounge. No tag. No mention of me. I sat on the front porch with my backpack balanced on my knees, convinced the note was only temporary confusion. Any minute now, someone would arrive. An aunt. A neighbor. A family friend who'd say, "Oh my God, this was a misunderstanding." No one came. The sun sank low enough to stretch shadows across the street. Porch lights flicked on one by one. A dog barked at me like I didn't belong in my own driveway. That was the moment something inside me started whispering a thought I didn't want to hear. Maybe this wasn't a mistake. I went inside, heated a burrito I didn't even like, and ate it standing at the counter. The microwave's buzz was the only sound in the house. I pretended it counted as conversation. By day 2, I told myself my parents had messed up plans. By day 4, I told myself they'd be embarrassed when they realized. By day 6, the whisper grew louder. I had always been the middle child, the bridge no one noticed. Jasmine was the star, collecting trophies and varsity letters. Lily was the finale, all dance recitals and pastel cupcakes. I was responsible, which adults use when they mean quiet and uncomplicated. But being forgotten on purpose introduced a new kind of silence, one that echoed. I spent my days at the library, checking out stacks of books like armor, returning to an empty house that smelled faintly of lemon cleaner and neglect. On the 6th day, as I walked home under heat that blurred even my shadow, a glossy black car slowed beside the curb. The window slid down smoothly, like something from a different world. "Alma." The voice carried surprise. Familiar but distant. I turned to see Uncle Richard. The rich one. The uncle my mother always called conceited, which I later learned was code for he keeps his boundaries. He'd stopped attending family holidays before I learned long division. His eyes flicked from my backpack to my sweat-stuck hair to the smile I wore like a shield. "Why are you alone?" he asked. "Where are your parents?" "Florida," I said. The word sounded absurd, like I'd said Mars. He went quiet for half a second. Long enough for something to pass over his face, anger maybe, or disappointment. "I see," he murmured. Whatever came next sounded like a comment I wasn't meant to hear. Then he said, "Get in." "What?" "You're not walking anywhere tonight." Every safety lecture I'd ever heard screamed in my head. But hunger counts as danger too. And I was very hungry. His car smelled like leather and something sharp and new, not cologne, not citrus. Just the scent of money that hadn't gone stale. He didn't take me home. He took me to a diner with cracked red booths and pies trapped beneath glass domes. When the burger and milkshake arrived, I stared at them like they might vanish if I blinked too long. He didn't rush me. He let me eat first. Then he asked questions. Not the polite kind, real ones. What I liked. What I noticed. What I cared about. "History," I said. "Mostly the parts people misremember." That earned a small smile. The kind that says interesting without saying it out loud. When we reached my street, he didn't even park. Just idled. "Pack a bag," he said. I blinked. "What?" "You're not staying alone in a dark house while your parents shop for sunscreen." "But," "Pack, Alma." Some moments open the world like it has hidden hinges. That was one of them. His house felt unreal. The guest bed looked too soft to touch. I perched on the edge, afraid even to wrinkle the blanket. "I don't want to mess up the sheets," I whispered. "They can be washed," he said mildly. "Things exist to be used, not feared." Morning came with orange juice poured into a real glass. At home, our cups were plastic souvenirs that still smelled faintly of sunscreen. It's just juice, he teased. Not a legal agreement. When my school asked who would attend my meeting, he answered without hesitation. I will. The weight of those words loosened something inside me I hadn't realized was clenched. I didn't know what to do with generosity. When he bought me clothes, I hid the tags. When he gave me lunch money, I saved it and ate crackers. Spending felt like trespassing. 12 days later, he found me crouched in the kitchen at midnight, eating cereal from the box. Are you rehearsing to be a raccoon? He asked. I told him I didn't want to take too much. He heated pasta, set it in front of me and said quietly, if it's in this house, it belongs to everyone who lives here. That includes you. I nodded, swallowing the ache in my throat. Days turned into weeks. My parents didn't call. Jasmine posted beach sunsets. Lily showed off seashells. My name didn't appear anywhere. Uncle Richard didn't comment. He just showed up. School meetings. Doctor appointments. Haircuts. Maintenance, he called it. Like I was something worth keeping functional. 13, I still tested limits. Once I came home late without texting. I expected yelling. Instead, he handed me a sandwich. Glad you're alive, he said. Next time text, or I'll assume you're in a ditch and go buy a shovel. Care with structure. Not chaos. Not neglect. That Christmas, he gave me a leather-bound journal with my initials pressed in gold. Write what you notice, he said. Especially the small things. That night, I saw my family's holiday photo online. Matching pajamas. Perfect smiles. No wish you were here. I opened the journal and wrote, things here are meant to be used, not feared. If something is inside this house, it belongs to the people in it. I am in this house. The words felt borrowed, but warm. I didn't know yet that this house and this man would become the foundation everything else stood on. For now I was just 13, curled into clean sheets, learning one impossible truth. I wasn't disposable. I hadn't been forgotten. I'd been misplaced. And someone had finally found me. If chapter 1 was about being erased, chapter 2 was about what happens when the people who erased you come back with their hands out. By the time I turned 16, I no longer waited for my parents to remember me. That might sound dramatic, but it was quieter than that. Less anger. More resignation. Like closing a door not because you're furious but because the draft never stops. Uncle Richard never spoke badly about them. Not once. That restraint taught me more than lectures ever could. He didn't need villains to be the hero of my story. He just showed up consistently, calmly, relentlessly. By 14, he corrected my posture. By 15, my grades. By 16, my sense of self. Stand tall, Alma, he'd say, tapping my shoulder when I folded inward. You're not punctuation. First, I rolled my eyes. Eventually, I started believing him. Teachers noticed. I spoke up. I joined debate club after he bribed me with pizza. My voice shook at my first competition, but I still won, arguing of all things that cats made better pets. I spotted Uncle Richard in the back row, arms crossed, wearing that quiet grin that said, I told you so. At home, lessons arrived disguised as daily life. When I asked for a new phone, he said, how much have you saved? When I said none, he replied, then you'll appreciate it more when you earn it. So I got a job bagging groceries. My first paycheck felt heavier than gold. He didn't take it. He drove me to the bank. Save half. Spend half, he said. Enjoy today without robbing tomorrow. I didn't know it then, but that sentence became the backbone of everything I built. Holidays changed too. They were quieter. Smaller. But real. One Christmas, he gave me a silver keychain engraved with a mountain and the word Carlton. A work in progress, he said. I stared at him. What? You're building. I'm learning not to do it alone. I hugged him. Awkwardly. He didn't let go first. That night my phone buzzed again. Another perfect family photo from the mountains. Still no mention of me. It hurt. But it didn't hollow me out anymore. By 17 something shifted. My parents stopped pretending I didn't exist. Instead, they started pretending we were close. It began with a text from my mother. Sweetheart, we should catch up soon. Family is everything. I stared at the screen for a long time before putting the phone face down. Then Jasmine messaged. Heard you're doing really well. Proud of you. That one almost made me laugh. Pride requires observation. They hadn't watched me in years. Still curiosity tugged. Or maybe hope, thin, stubborn hope. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet them for coffee. They arrived late. Together. Coordinated. My mother hugged me too tightly, like she was trying to make up for lost time in one gesture. My father shook my hand like I was a distant cousin. Jasmine complimented my hair. Lily scrolled through her phone. They asked questions, but not the kind that require listening. College plans. Career goals. Uncle Richard's work. That last one lingered too long. He's always been very successful, my mother said carefully. Must be nice. I said nothing. Later that week, Uncle Richard asked how it went. They missed the idea of me, I said. Not me. He nodded once. Then don't lend them your reality. I thought the contact would fade again. It didn't. As college acceptance letters arrived, so did interest. Invitations. Sudden concern. Jasmine started dropping hints. Richard must be getting older, she said once. Good thing he has family. Lily asked if his house was hard to maintain. My father asked casually if Richard had ever discussed estate planning. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. These weren't reconnections. They were calculations. Uncle Richard noticed my quiet. They're circling, I admitted one night. He didn't look surprised. People who ignore foundations always notice roofs. I went to college anyway. Western Summit University. Engineering. Hard. Honest. Mine. Move-in day was chaos. Parents crying. Balloons. Noise. Mine didn't come. Uncle Richard carried everything up 3 flights of stairs in August heat. Annual workout, he joked. Before leaving, he handed me a note. If you ever doubt you belong, check your reflection. You got here without them. I taped it into my planner and carried it for 4 years. College was lonely at first. Second-hand shoes. Cheap detergent. Imposter syndrome in every lecture hall. But Uncle Richard called every Sunday. So Miss Dean's list, he teased. Still living on ramen and ambition. Barely. Good. Struggle keeps you sharp. In my sophomore year I met Ethan. He didn't try to save me. He respected me. That mattered. When old fears resurfaced, his ex, a flicker of replacement, I remembered Richard's rule. Half the world bluffs. The other half apologizes for existing. Do neither. I didn't accuse. I didn't beg. I set a boundary. Ethan respected it. By senior year things aligned. Graduation. Career offers. Momentum. Uncle Richard sat front row, clapping louder than anyone. Afterward, he handed me a silver pen. Use this to sign contracts you'll be proud of. I laughed. Not autographs. Build first. Brag later. I didn't see the signs at first. The missed dinners. The fatigue. The way his smile came a second too late. I told myself it was age. Then the call came. He collapsed at work. Hospitals smell like endings even when they pretend not to. When I reached his room, he smiled weakly. 5-star stay, he rasped. Food's terrible. You scared me, I whispered. He shrugged. First time for everything. Then softer. I'm glad it was me who taught you. Taught me what? How to stand tall. Months later, he was gone. Peacefully. In his sleep. The world went silent. The funeral was small. Elegant. Exactly his style. That's when my family reappeared. Dressed in black, grief-like theater. We had no idea you were so close, my mother said. You never asked, I replied. Jasmine leaned in. Do you know when the will is being read? I didn't answer. Within days, the messages started. Warm. Urgent. Convenient. Family should stick together. We should discuss the estate. Then the lawyer called. The will reading is Monday, he said. Your uncle was thorough. I touched the worn leather of my journal. For the first time since I was 13, I felt something close to certainty. They hadn't come back for me. They'd come back for what they thought was theirs. And they were about to learn the difference between being related and being remembered. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to subscribe for more like it. And comment below, what would you have done in my place? The law office smelled like leather, old paper, and money that expected to be obeyed. Dark wood paneling climbed the walls. Heavy curtains filtered the light into something solemn and expensive. Even the chairs demanded good posture, as if slouching were a moral failure. Mr. Halpern sat at the head of the long mahogany table, papers neatly aligned. My parents, Jasmine and Lily, occupied the opposite side, dressed in carefully chosen morning blacks that still managed to whisper status. My mother dabbed at dry eyes with designer tissues. My father folded his hands, already practicing his dignified grief face. Jasmine leaned forward, diamonds catching the light. Lily whispered, "Do you think he left us the house?" I sat alone on my side of the table. Plain black dress. No jewelry. My journal resting quietly on my lap. I didn't need armor. Mr. Halpern cleared his throat. "We are here to review the last will and testament of Richard Carlton." The room leaned in. He began with the formalities. Outstanding obligations. Charitable donations. Bequests to longtime staff. My family shifted impatiently, nodding at names they didn't recognize, waiting for what they felt entitled to. Then Halpern turned a page. "To my estranged relatives who remembered me only when my bank balance suited their needs," he read evenly, "I leave nothing." The silence was violent. My mother gasped. Jasmine's mouth fell open. Lily blinked like she'd misheard. "That's not funny," Lily whispered. Halpern didn't look up. "To my niece, Alma Mountain," he continued, "abandoned at 13 but never absent since, I leave the entirety of my estate. All assets, properties, accounts, and holdings." Every sound in the room vanished. For pairs of eyes snapped toward me. Jasmine was the first to recover. "That's impossible," she snapped. He barely even knew her. I met her gaze calmly. "He knew me for 15 years. You just stopped paying attention." My father's face flushed red. "You manipulated him," he accused. "Turned him against his own family." I placed my hand on the journal. "No," I said quietly. "You did that yourselves. The day you left me with a note on the fridge." Lily tried sweetness. "Come on, Alma. You're not really planning to keep everything, are you? We're family." "Family." I smiled, not cruelly, not smugly. Just tired. "Funny," I said. 15 years of silence didn't feel much like family. But the moment there's money, suddenly we're related again. Halpern closed the folder with a